Well, Mayor Katti Satyanarayana inaugurated an auditorium on the BBMP premises today. But surprisingly, the auditorium is named after him. Yes, the auditorium is called Katti Satya Sabhangana. The auditorium was constructed with grants from the Mayor's fund, and Palike claims that this is the reason for naming the auditorium after him. Well, the Mayor going ahead and taking the liberty of creating an auditorium, setting it up in the BBMP premises and then naming it after himself. No doubt this is definitely going to lead to quite a few people questioning as to whether he's worthy of the honor at all. Usually we see such places being named after a person only after they've created history of sorts. But the BBMP stating, of course, that the auditorium was constructed with grants from the Mayor's fund. And the Palike claims that is why they have named the auditorium after him. Well, it is of course only out of the Mayor's fund, not out of the personal pockets of Katti Satyanarayana. It's probably something that the BBMP will have to keep in mind. But the Mayor did go ahead and inaugurate this particular auditorium today, and surprisingly enough, it's named after him, almost as if he is a legend in the BBMP. Well, no doubt this will wreak quite a bit of controversy. The BBMP, when asked about this, went on to state that the reason it's been named after the Mayor Katti Satyanarayana is because it was built out of the Mayor's fund. So what happens, of course, when the next Mayor comes in? And of course, it's not like it's out of the personal pockets of the Mayor, but simply from the funds that have been created using every single Mayor that has sat in that chair. My colleague Bansi joins us over the phone line with more details. Bansi, very surprising that, of course, this particular auditorium has been named after Katti Satyanarayana. Do we know if any reactions have come and any people opposing this?
Well, there is the saying, the long live the king. So here everybody would like to immortalize their tenure. And here Mr. Katti Satya, the long-serving corporator of the Brihat Bengaluru Mahanagar Palike, who is now the mayor, seeking to immortalize his name by having a hall named after himself, but the laws and the rules do not allow that. So therefore what we see is that under the KMC Act, the Karnataka Municipal Council Act, it is a violation of the Act to have a building or a road named after someone living. So therefore that Act has come to the rescue of those protesting and opposing such a move, and therefore they have removed the name. So it is that name originally that we saw, Katti Satya Sabhangana, meaning Katti Satya Hall. Katti Satya is the mayor, and that is now revised. So it comes as a relief to all those opposing and protesting this issue.
Right, Bansi. Also, of course, keeping what the Palike had to say in mind, they've stated that it's because the funds were brought in from the Mayor's fund itself that they have decided to name it after Katti Satyanarayana. What we have to keep in mind is that it's not like the Mayor's fund is his personal pocket. At the end of the day, it's something that belongs to the Mayor as such, someone who sits in that chair.
Absolutely. The office of Mayor, we have seen some of the most... if you look at the long list of mayors we've had different names. So just imagine a scenario where each one of these mayors having a hall or a road named after themselves. That would be extremely ridiculous for a place like Bengaluru, considering some of the stature of some of these mayors. Personally, I'm not talking of officially, personally. So it would be a bit of a joke, very ridiculous to have the halls or any one of these roads named after mayor. So thankfully they have removed it. It ceases to be a controversy because it is now removed. But had it continued, would have been an issue that could have seen a lot of protest, especially because we have seen a lot of opposition against this naming of a hall after a sitting mayor. It would be stretching things too far. So thankfully they have now removed it.
Right, Bansi, stay with us. We'll come back to you for more details, but no doubt this is going to court quite a bit of controversy. Mayor Katti Satyanarayana turning up for the inauguration. For obvious reasons, the auditorium has been named after him.
ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ನಿಲುವೇನಿದೆ ಅದರ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ನಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ನಿಲುವು ಬದುಕಿರೋರಿಗೆ ಯಾರ ಹೆಸರು ಇಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಆದೇಶ ಇದೆ. ಸನ್ಮಾನ್ಯ ಈಗಿನ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಧಾನಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ಸಹಿತ ಒಂದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಖಡಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ಉತ್ತರವನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಯಾರು ಬದುಕಿರೋರ ಹೆಸರುಗಳಾಗಲಿ, ಪಾರ್ಕ್ಗಳಿಗಾಗಲಿ, ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ಗಳಿಗಾಗಲಿ ಹೆಸರಿಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಒಂದು ಸೂಚನೆಯನ್ನು ನಮ್ಮ ಪಕ್ಷದ ನೇತಾರರು ರವಾನಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ನಮ್ಮ ಹೈಕಮಾಂಡನ್ನು ಸಹಿತ ನಮ್ಮ ಪಕ್ಷನೂ ಸಹಿತ ಪೂಜ್ಯ ಮಹಾಪ್ಪ ಅವರಿಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ನೆನ್ನೆನೇ ಅದನ್ನು ಹೆಸರನ್ನ ತೆರವುಗೊಳಿಸಲಾಗಿದೆ. ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ನಿಲುವೆ.
Well, the chairman of the wards committee, they're going ahead and stating that there's no need for a controversy over this issue. Coming back to you, Bansi, do we know if they have gone ahead and removed the board now? Because what we can see on our screens is that post the controversy, they've actually removed that board. So will we see a renaming?
Absolutely. Now they have removed that board. That entire board has been removed. But they don't have to rename it. They can just retain it as a hall or an auditorium, because there are any number of buildings without a name. So nomenclature and that too the name of a sitting mayor is perhaps the least that one should be looking at in the Brihat Bengaluru Mahanagarapalika, considering it has enough problems. And this is perhaps an issue that has sparked such a controversy, because it has been named after a sitting mayor simply because he has allocated the funds for this. And then let's not forget that those funds are all the people's funds. So as mayor, he allocates funds which is collected by way of taxes and cesses. So something like this being named after a mayor, and the mayor's logic explanation is that he himself was not aware of this. He says it is some official, some person who's an elected member of a certain organization, workers' organization, who has gone ahead and named it. He says he himself was not aware that his name was on the building. But let's not forget that he was there at that inaugural session. So how much of truth is there in his explanation remains to be seen.
Right, Bansi, thank you so much for joining us with all those details. But the mayor quoting controversy there, he has gone ahead and inaugurated a hall that has been named after him. The BBMP's logic for the same is because apparently the funds were provided from the mayor's fund, and hence they decided to name it after the existent mayor. But soon after realizing that the issue has quoted quite a bit of controversy, they've gone ahead and pulled off that name board, which had in fact named the auditorium as Katte Satya Hall.